She thought it was love, but to him it seemed like nothing more than a moment that never should have happened. That's how it began for Lena Carter, a quiet but determined associate at a powerful investment firm in New York. She wasn't the type people noticed. Never the loudest voice in the room, never the one dressed in bold colors, but her work was sharp, her reports flawless, her timing impeccable. And maybe that's why Alexander Hayes, the billionaire CEO with the reputation of stone, handpicked her to fly with him to Chicago for a deal that could change the company's future. From the moment she stepped into that sleek black SUV waiting at the curb, Lena felt the weight of his presence. He sat with dark glasses, hiding his eyes, typing furiously on his laptop. No hello, no warmth, just a clipped Lena. She swallowed, answering with a polite, "Good morning, Mr. Hayes." The ride to the airport was silent, the private flight even quieter. But she could feel it sometimes, that subtle flicker of his gaze, just long enough to make her heart skip short enough to doubt if it was real. The hotel in Chicago was the kind she'd only seen in glossy magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, velvet bedding that seemed untouched by time. Alexander gave her a single compliment before disappearing into his suite. "You did well preparing those reports." The board noticed. 6 simple words, yet they lit up her chest like fireworks. Dinner with the investors went better than anyone expected. Lena spoke with poised confidence she didn't even know she had, and she caught Alexander's approving glance across the table. On the elevator ride back up, silence shifted into something thicker, unspoken electric. At her door, she tried to keep her voice steady. "Good night, Mr. Hayes." His reply was soft, but carried weight. "Alexander. Call me Alexander. Just for tonight." It was her chance to walk away, to pretend she didn't hear, but her whisper betrayed her. "Okay." The kiss was slow, almost hesitant. Then it broke like a dam. Hours later, tangled in sheets, she believed for once that she mattered to him. His arms around her felt like home. His voice, once cold, melted into warmth. She drifted asleep, thinking she'd finally seen the man behind the mask. Morning shattered that dream. The bed was still warm, but empty. No sound of running water, no rustle in the room. Instead, a white envelope sat on the pillow. Her name scrawled in bold letters. She opened it, hands trembling, only to find neatly folded $100 bills, $5,000 in cash, and a note. "Let's forget this happened. It's better this way." Her chest hollowed out. She wasn't just heartbroken, she was humiliated, reduced to a transaction. Not a woman he cared for, but a mistake he chose to erase with money. She sat there clutching the sheet to her chest, feeling cheap, disposable. Back at the office, Alexander treated her like a ghost. No recognition of what happened, only relentless commands. "Miss Carter, merger reports by noon. Lena, stay late and fix this." He piled on impossible workloads, criticized her in front of colleagues, froze her out as if she were invisible. The whispers began speculation that she'd angered him somehow, that she wasn't performing. Nobody knew the truth. And Lena stayed silent, swallowing the pain, burying herself in work, moving through the days like a shadow. But her body betrayed her. Fatigue hit her like bricks. Nausea rising at random, the smell of coffee, once her lifeline, now unbearable. She told herself it was stress, until weeks passed, and her period never came. Denial cracked when 3 pregnancy tests lined up in front of her, each one screaming the same word: positive. Lena collapsed on her bathroom floor, clutching the test like a weapon. Panic, disbelief, fear, everything collided at once. She remembered the morning after pill she had taken. She thought she was safe, but inside her a heartbeat was forming. Half hers, half his. Days stretched into nights of torment. Should she tell him? Stay silent? If she told him, would he believe her? Or worse, would he hand her another envelope and tell her to disappear? But keeping the truth locked inside felt unbearable. One morning, with resolve hardened by weeks of torment, she walked into his office. Her heels clicked across the marble floor, each step sounding like a countdown. He didn't even look up at first. "Make it quick, Lena. I'm in the middle of something." Her voice cracked but didn't break. "I'm pregnant." The pen slipped from his hand. His eyes locked on hers. Disbelief etched across his face. Then he whispered almost to himself, "That's not possible." "What do you mean?" she demanded. "I was told." "I couldn't have children," he admitted. His voice cracked raw in a way she'd never heard. 3 years ago, after medical complications, the test confirmed it. 0 count. I accepted it. I thought I was broken. Her mind spun. All the cruelty, the envelope, the avoidance, it wasn't just arrogance. It was grief, fear, self-hatred. "Then why treat me like garbage?" She snapped, tears burning. "Why pay me off like I was nothing?" He stepped closer, anguish on his face. "Because I hated myself. Because I thought if I pushed you away, if I made you hate me, it would be easier for both of us. I thought I had nothing to give." Her voice shook with rage. "You didn't just hurt me, Alexander. You destroyed me." Silence stretched between them, heavy with everything unsaid. Then softer, he admitted, "I was wrong. So wrong. You've given me something I thought I'd never have again. Hope." That night they didn't kiss or make promises. They sat on his office couch, the city glowing beyond the glass, two broken souls sharing truths for the first time. He told her about the woman he had lost, Clara, 6 months pregnant, when complications took both mother and child. How the grief hollowed him out, how the diagnosis sealed his belief that he was cursed. For the first time, Lena saw not the ruthless CEO, but a man shattered, hiding behind power. She stayed. Not because everything was fixed, but because she saw him, really saw him. And slowly, painfully, they began again. Seasons passed, Lena's belly rounded, and Alexander transformed with her. He wasn't perfect. Sometimes the old habits returned, sharp words, long nights at the office. But now, he came back always. She found him one Saturday on the floor, glasses sliding down his nose, fumbling to assemble a crib. "Don't laugh," he warned, grinning sheepishly. She sat down beside him, helping him fit the pieces together. For the first time, they built something side by side. When their daughter was born on a cold December morning, Lena screamed through the agony, clutching his hand while Alexander whispered encouragements with tears running freely down his face. The moment their baby's cry filled the room, he broke sobbing, holding his child like the world had given him back what it once stole. They named her Clara, honoring the past but stepping into the future. Nights blurred with feedings and lullabies, mornings filled with spit-up and mismatched socks, but it was theirs. Slowly, the cracks between them began to heal. One evening, their daughter asleep between them on the couch, Alexander turned and whispered, "Marry me." She laughed through tears. "You're serious? Proposing with spit-up on your shirt?" Apparently, he said, smiling for real this time. She didn't answer immediately. Then she touched his cheek. "You're lucky I still love you." "You do?" he asked, stunned. "I think I always did," she whispered. They didn't rush the wedding, didn't care about headlines. What mattered was choosing each other every day. Their story hadn't begun like a fairy tale. It began with betrayal, humiliation, a wad of cash on a pillow. But it grew into something more powerful, a family born from pain, rebuilt with truth carried by second chances. And maybe that's what made it real. Not perfection, not some scripted romance, but the messy, flawed, stubborn act of staying, of fighting, of choosing to love when it would have been easier to run. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Was Alexander's cruelty forgivable? Can love really grow from betrayal, or does it always carry the scar of how it began? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story isn't just theirs. It's about what we as people believe love, redemption, and forgiveness truly mean. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that make us question what's right, what's wrong, and everything in between.